how are the current situation in Gaza right now after the Israeli army has ordered the evacuation to the south of Gaza, but still the bombing continues? Yeah.
Unfortunately, since the 7th of October, the Israeli miserable attacks, the genocide of Israel against our innocent Palestinian people continued. International community kept silent, witnessing the ongoing Israeli crime carried out against our 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza. And let me share with you, this is not the first war carried out by the Israeli state terrorist group. The situation on the ground is unbelievable. Number of casualties so far, if I can update you up to the latest figures that I received until midnight last night. The total number of those who were caught dead, 2,867. Among them, 2,808 in Gaza and 59 on the West Bank. The number of injured ones, 12,050. Among them, 10,850 in Gaza and 1,200 on the West Bank. Among those murders, 13 journalists, 870 women, 937 children, 371 families has been dismissed. The whole families were caught dead. Among them, 37 health workers and 127 educational staff teachers, school teachers, and academists. With this Israeli crisis, 17,600 houses or apartments has been totally destroyed or damaged. As a result of the Israelis' continuous striking of Gaza, almost 500,000 Palestinians have been evacuated from north of Gaza to the south of Gaza. And for those who do not know, Gaza has been an open-air prison for the last 16 years. And Gaza has been under siege. And unfortunately, the international community witnessed the suffering of our people in Gaza for almost 2 decades, and no efforts being made to help lifting the siege on Gaza. Gaza only have one crossing point. It's called Rafah crossing point with Egypt. That's enabled all the people of Gaza to go in and out of Gaza. And at the moment, it's the only way to send any aids to Gaza is through the Rafah crossing point. The last 48 hours efforts by the Egyptian government, by our president and our government, and by all those who believe at least in human rights, we have been trying to facilitate aids to Gaza. And unfortunately, we are unable to send any so far. This is the introduction I wanted to start with you. So situation in the ground is continued to be miserable, continued to have the Palestinians bleeding, suffering, and nothing so far has been provided. And the resources in terms of medicine, food, water, electricity are getting short and short in Gaza.
As we see, the Israeli regime made the world believe that this conflict is between Israel and Hamas, but in truth, it's attacking all the people of Palestinian people.
The Israeli propaganda, especially to the Western world, to convince them that they are fighting a terrorist group in their views called Hamas, which is totally untrue, totally a propaganda, trying to get the sympathy of the Western world to sympathize with Israel. Unfortunately, all our Palestinian people in Gaza are targeted by the Israelis. Every single Palestinian in Gaza is a target. No one in Gaza is immune. No one in Gaza can be safe of not being a target by the Israelis. All Palestinians at the moment in Gaza are united. All Palestinians in Gaza are struggling together. All Palestinians in Gaza are facing the same threats and the same risks that everybody has.
As you say, India, 937 children are victims of this conflict. It's a cruelty to the humanitarian through the of Palestine. Yes, they see.
What can I say? I mean, these prove what I've said, that when 937 children, 870 women, are these Hamas? When Israeli claim that they are countering Hamas, are these children considered Hamas activists? This is the evidence to the international community that all Palestinians in Gaza are targeted and they are victims of the Israeli crime.
It should not be happening.
I wish the international community loudly and clearly can make it clear to Israel and the Israeli government and those who support Israel that they need to stop this state terrorism against our people in Gaza.
For 75 years, the people of Palestine has been suffering. And as we go it, the Western powers are not doing anything. How about the other Muslim countries? Are they doing enough or not enough to help Palestine?
I am an ambassador and I am a diplomat and I have to give a diplomatic answer. Unfortunately, they created situations among all Muslim countries to have their own internal challenges, to keep them busy and far from focusing on the Palestinian cause. As I said, this Israeli attack started on the 7th of October. Up until now, hopefully tomorrow, Wednesday, OIC is going to meet. So it took OIC almost 2 weeks or a week and a half just to meet, to have all Muslim countries to meet together and see what they can do, which is a very slow mechanism. I wish the Muslim Ummah is united. I wish the Muslim Ummah still have the Palestinian cause on their top priorities. Unfortunately, the Palestinian cause is a secondary issue on the agendas of many of the Muslim countries. And not because I am an ambassador in Malaysia. I am an ambassador, resident ambassador in Malaysia. I'm resident ambassador to 3 more countries, Thailand, Maldives, and Brunei. So the role of Malaysia is not questionable. Malaysians always show their support and solidarity with Palestine. Malaysians are united in terms of the support to Palestine. No one can question that. Malaysia try the maximum to help as much as they can. On the last speech of Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, in United Nations, and before that in Jakarta. He always gave the Palestinian cause a priority in his foreign relations. And he raised up the issue of Palestine, and he emphasized and reconfirmed the position of Malaysia towards Palestine and the Palestinians. And I am so proud with that. Same thing at the moment in all Muslim countries. I was watching the TV. Maldives could be one of the smallest Muslim countries. When I've seen the supporters in Maldives who gone out on the streets and show their support and solidarity, I could not believe it. Mali is a very small capital, but to have thousands of Maldivians protesting in Maldives to share their support and solidarity is highly appreciated. Even in Thailand, I was in Thailand just last week. I presented my credential to His Majesty the King, and the sympathy we have from the Thai people is appreciative. Yes, the people in all Muslim countries show their support and their solidarity. I've met in the parliament in Malaysia with the speaker, and I met with the foreign minister as well. And I proposed if Malaysia can sponsor a resolution through the international community, through the United Nations, to have what our President Mahmoud Abbas requested at the General Assembly, which is an international protection force for Palestinians, to protect our Palestinian people from the Israeli attacks and from the Israeli violation of international law, because the Israeli violation of international law through their settlers, through their army, through their police, continued in Jenin, continued in Nablus, continued in Hebron, even in Al-Quds, in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa Al-Mubarak. When they invade Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa regularly, do they expect Palestinians in Gaza, brothers and sisters, will keep silent? When they strike Gaza at the moment, do they expect our Palestinian people in Ramallah or in Hebron will keep silent? Our Palestinian nation is united to get rid of the Israeli occupation. The main challenge at the moment, the top priority for us, is the Israeli occupation. It's the longest occupation it's been witnessed in the globe. We have to implement the UN resolutions. We have to get rid of the Israeli occupation. We are eligible and we deserve to exercise our freedom and our independency to enjoy having an independent Palestinian state with Al-Quds as its capital. Without that, Israel will never enjoy peace. Without having an independent Palestinian state on the 1967 borders with Al-Quds as its capital, Middle East will never enjoy stability. Israel had tried peace treaty with Egypt, has tried peace treaty with Jordan, had managed to normalize diplomatic relations with some of the Arab and Muslim countries. But they know that the core issue, the cornerstone of any stability in the Middle East, is for the Israelis to recognize the Palestinian rights in an independent Palestinian state. Without that, they will never live in peace and they will never enjoy peace.
It's really said that there would be no ceasefire and no targeting the civilians.
The international community, all mediators have been trying just to have a 5-hour ceasefire to enable aids, emergency aids, to go into Gaza. Some medical and health facilities, some food. Israelis shut down water, electricity, internet in Gaza. The people are suffering. The people are thirsty. The people are starving in Gaza. lack of resources at the moment in Gaza. Unfortunately, Israeli striking continued, and they never enabled those who can provide some emergency aids to Gaza to facilitate.
What should the world do towards Israel actually?
Sorry?
What should we really do towards Israel?
Just for once, international community needs to be serious in taking serious action against Israel, to look through two eyes, not to continue look through one eye and leave Palestinians victims of the double standards. Just be fair with Palestinians. Treat Palestinians as a human being. The defense minister of Israel announced loudly that we are fighting animals. He considered all Palestinians are animals. Will the international community for once just say stop to Israel of what they are doing? Will the international community, will United States of America, the European Union, just for once be fair with Palestine and the Palestinians and put an end to the Palestinian suffering? I leave the answer for those who believe in human rights and who believe in democracy. The Palestinian community members who are in Malaysia, we had so far more than 30 Palestinians, relatives to those who are in Malaysia, who were caught dead in Palestine. What can I say when I see the close relatives of mine or of my staff or my community in Malaysia? The feeling is Palestine is a very small nation and very small geography. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody is linked to everybody. So if somebody is killed in Rafah, which is in the south, somebody from Jenin, which is the north, either linked directly or indirectly with them. As a small nation, everybody knows everybody. That's why we have been in a circle of action and reaction. Whenever Israelis attack Jenin, our people in Gaza sympathize and act with their brothers and sisters in Jenin. And the same thing, when Gaza is under fire at the moment, all West Bank is sympathizing and trying to show their support and solidarity with Gaza. So by Israeli claiming that we are countering Hamas, this is a propaganda which was created just to convince the Western world that they are countering terrorism. Is fighting through freedom fighters considered terrorism? If that's so, all Palestinians are terrorists. We are freedom fighters. We are fighting to get our freedom. We are fighting to achieve our independence. We want to live in peace. We are human beings. We are absolutely against the killing of civilians. But international community has to say something when Palestinian civilians are killed, when Palestinian children are killed. Why only they can say something when an Israeli is being killed? This is the question that we need, an answer for.
And spoiler stuff, if we mean, do you have relatives or family back home that has been any?
Well, personally, my family are in the West Bank. But my first counselor here in the embassy, his family in Khan Yunis, in Gaza. And he lost almost 28 of his family members. So just imagine a colleague of yours that you work with, that you live with, and he had lost, tens of his relatives. How he feels. And the same thing we do have almost more than 1,000 Palestinian students here in Malaysia. At the moment, they are unable to communicate with their families. They don't know whereabouts of their families in Gaza. They can't call them. Just imagine how they live. That's why, as an embassy, we try our best to help as much as we can our community here, whether they are students, whether they are, we do have refugees here that they have their families back in Gaza and they are unable to talk to them. There's no communications because Israel had shut down the electricity and the internet, so they are unable to communicate. If some of them succeed to call Gaza, they found temporary solutions, like they can use the battery of a car just to recharge their mobiles because there's no electricity, and so on and so on. So everybody in Gaza is suffering. This is what all Malaysia needs to know, that the story that the Israelis are trying to promote, that they are countering Hamas, which is totally untrue. Every single Palestinian in Gaza is a target for Israel.
If you have one thing to say to the world about this ongoing conflict, what would it be?
My message to the international community: help Palestinians by having a protection force just to minimize the victims within the Palestinian community. Number two, treat Palestinians as a human being. Be fair with Palestine and the Palestinians. See us through the two eyes, not through one eye. Implement UN resolutions and put an end to the Palestinian suffering. Put an end to the Israeli occupation to our territories, to enable our Palestinians to live freely, and to enable the Middle East to enjoy peace and to enjoy settlement.
Finally, do you think this conflict will ever end?
Without Israel and the international community recognizing the Palestinian rights in an independent Palestinian state, which we accepted, we gave the maximum of accepting an independent Palestinian state on the 1967 borders to live side by side with Israel. This is the maximum that any Palestinian can give. So without the Israelis and the international community recognizing our rights to have that independent Palestinian state, Middle East will never enjoy peace. Israel and the Israelis will never live in peace.